What's going on, horror gang? Welcome to I Shot Him 6 Times YouTube horror movie channel. As you know, I'm your host, Marcus. Be sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel, as well as hit that notification icon so you get all the latest content updates to the channel. In this video, I'm going to discuss Scream 6 updates and possible character returns for Scream 6. Before I do that, let's hit that intro. I shot him 6 times. Alright gang, let's get into it. So, as I stated at the beginning of the video, I want to have a discussion about the multiple Scream 6 updates that has came out over the last couple days, as well as talk about possible character returns for Scream 6. Now, I do want to put a disclaimer out there. Obviously, Courtney Cox and Neve Campbell, Cindy Prescott, and Gale Weathers have not yet been confirmed for this Scream sequel. However, as a fan and as other fans believe, both characters will be back for the sequel, as we believe there wouldn't be no reason to approach these two characters with a script to begin with if their characters' story arcs were involved and were finished. So, with that being said, guys, let's get into it. Alright guys, so as you see in the overlay, the working title for Scream 6 is Blackmore. And later in the video, I'm going to discuss what this working title could potentially mean for Scream 6. But first I want to delve into the release date. We got a release date of March 31st, 2023 for Scream 6. A lot of fans were taken aback by this, maybe feel it's a little soon that this movie's coming out only a year and 2 months after Scream 5, etc. I want fans to keep in mind that this is just another homage to Wes Craven. Keep in mind, Wes Craven released Scream 2 not even a full year after Scream 96 was released. Scream 2 was released December 12, 1997, as Scream 1996 was released December 20th, 1996. So my opinion, guys, I do not think we're getting a rushed movie here. I think that Radio Silence and Spyglass this is just another homage to Wes Craven, another step in Wes's footsteps, and I genuinely feel that these guys know what they're doing. They already have their ducks in a row as terms of what direction they're going to take Scream 6 and possibly lead us into a Scream 7. Okay guys, now this is part of the video when we start delving into character returns for Scream 6. And one character return I see popping up a lot is Dwayne Martin reprising his role as Joel the cameraman from Scream 2. A lot of fans want this return and believe that he is the father to Mindy and Chad, the Meeks Martin twins. Now, in my personal opinion, I don't believe this to be true, and I'm going to give you my reasonings why. One, we didn't see Martha Meeks, obviously, in Scream 2. So how would Joel and Martha have met? Now, it's not impossible, and the reason why it's not impossible is obviously when Randy was killed, Martha could have came to review the body, do the handling for how to take his remains back to Woodsboro, etc., etc. My argument for that is Dewey made that call. Dewey is the one who called Martha and the family, let them know that, obviously it was Randy who was killed, etc., etc. Now, that still doesn't rule out the possibility that Martha made the trip to Windsor College to get his remains. That still is very much in play. My argument is, how would her and Joel have met? Now, maybe we'll get some type of flashback scene if this is true. If Joel does return, I would hope that we get a flashback scene to Scream 2 showing and clarifying how Martha and Joel met. That's my biggest thing, is how did they meet? Because you don't even hear a mention of Joel throughout the series after Scream 2, not even by Gale. Gale doesn't even mention Joel. And I'd like to think that at some point we would get that. We would get some type of dialogue, in reference to Joel. And we haven't got that. We have not heard anything about the character of Joel since Scream 2. And there was no connection to Joel from Woodsboro. There was no connection at all other than the fact that he was the new cameraman. That's it. We got nothing that, oh, he's from Woodsboro, that he knew somebody from Woodsboro, etc. So though a lot of fans would like this return, me personally, I do not think it is Dwayne Martin who will reprise the role as Joel, the cameraman, and I think Mindy and Chad's dad is somebody completely different, somebody, a whole different character, somebody that we've never seen before. I'm sorry, guys. I just don't believe that Joel will return in Scream 6. And unless you give me a flashback scene and give me further clarification to make it make sense, I don't believe it makes sense for him to be Chad and Mindy's dad based on how did him and Martha meet. There's no evidence pointing that he's from Woodsboro, etc. Our next round of characters that we could potentially see in Scream 6 is none other than Sam and Tara's mother, Christina Carpenter, as well as Stu Macher's sister and Vince Snyder's mother, Leslie Macher. We're going to start with Christina. Obviously, it's very important that Christina's character does get cast in this movie, in my opinion, for story arc purposes. Obviously, she's an important role because then maybe we'll get some even more insight, some more backstory as to her and Billy's relationship. Maybe we'll get some flashback scenes, stuff like that, etc. But especially for Sam's story arc, the addition of Christina Carpenter, the mother, being added in this next Scream film almost is inevitable. You almost have to do it. And I don't see no way around where they don't cast her in this next movie. I think, obviously, in Scream 5, they planted the seeds for her character to be cast in Scream 6. They already planted those seeds. So that is a character that I'm almost 99.9% sure will be cast. It would be interesting to see who they get to play the role, as well as what type of character will she be. Obviously, we know she's a drunk, she's an alcoholic. So outside of that, what type of character are we getting? You know, is she a sarcastic drunk? Is she still like, is she a depressed drunk? What type of alcoholic are we getting? Because there's so many faces to alcoholism. You know what I mean? So her character is so important, especially for Samantha's story arc, and that is a character that I'm almost certain we will see in Scream 6. Another character that we could potentially be seeing in Scream 6, and I also feel like they kind of planted the seeds for this character to make an appearance in Scream 6 as well, is Stu Macher's sister, Vince Snyder's mother, Leslie Macher. Now, I see a lot of fan theories out there and stuff that Leslie Macher could potentially be the next Ghostface killer. Me personally, I don't know how I feel about that. I think it would be kind of almost expected, being that she is Stu's sister and her son just got killed. I think it would be almost too like Mrs. Loomis to a degree and be too predictable to cast Leslie Macher as a Ghostface killer. However, I do think that is a character we will get in Scream 6. What type of role she will play will be very interesting. I personally would kind of like to see her the complete opposite of what we've seen Stu and Vince, because even you've seen Vince had some killer instinct with him when he's putting a knife in Chad's face in the theatrical version and putting a knife in Dewey's face in the deleted scene. So I'd like to see Leslie Macher's character be a little bit different from the norm in terms of what we know from the Macher family. But those are two characters I definitely expect to see in Scream 6. Another potential character we could get in Scream 6 as well is Kirby Reed, a beloved character from Scream 4. Now, a lot of us fans was hoping to see Kirby Reed in Scream 5. We did get an Easter egg confirming that she is alive. However, also what we got is a deleted scene, a picture of Kirby Reed potentially missing. Now, I wasn't unable to find that missing picture from that deleted scene on the internet, etc. But I was at least able to get the Easter egg, somewhat of the Easter egg picture into this or whatever. It's a little bit blurry, but why I wanted that picture in this overlay is for a certain reason. Now, if Kirby Reed is missing, apparently when she did that interview, How I Survived Woodsboro, which was the Easter egg when Richie's watching Stab or whatever, or the Dead Meat sequence in the movie, Kirby Reed, that interview was taken 3 years before the events of obviously Scream 5. So that means in 2019, that's when that interview took it. Then obviously we see the missing picture in Scream 5 in a deleted scene. Now, my thing is I don't know if that missing picture is from recent or if it was possibly from when Kirby got stabbed in Scream 4. And then who's to say if Kirby got stabbed in Scream 4, you know, she sought medical attention, she got, you know, obviously got medical attention, went to the hospital, got fixed up, and just ghosted. Who's to say she just didn't just up and dip Woodsboro and just left? And ever since then, they had a missing poster of Kirby Reed up since that time, because obviously nobody knows where she's at. And the reason why I say that is because in the missing poster, her hairstyle is the same way as it was in Scream 4. But as you can see in that interview, in the Easter egg, and in this blurry photo that I have here in the video, her hair is much longer. It got longer, obviously. So, now granted, it's not to say that Kirby obviously didn't cut her hair again, and then obviously that picture, that missing photo is recent. We don't know. Hopefully we do get some clarification in Scream 6. A lot of fans think that maybe Richie and Amber got a hold of her. Maybe that was like the first kill, like the practice round, kind of like Billy and Stu did with Maureen, etc. So obviously we don't have enough clarification on Kirby Reed, but she is another character that I do expect to see at some point in Scream 6. And in my honest opinion, I do think that that missing photo was from Scream 4, the events after Scream 4, and I believe that Kirby just up and left Woodsboro without saying anything to anybody. And it's not impossible to think that. You look at Kirby's house, I mean, obviously her family had a lot of money, you know what I mean? So she had the means to just up and go and just start a new life wherever. But this is, once again, this is another character that at some point I do expect to see in Scream 6, and I hope we do get to see Kirby Reed in Scream 6. Alright, another potential return for Scream 6, and this one is my juggernaut for returns in Scream 6, and that is the return of Hank Loomis, the father of serial killer Billy Loomis, the grandfather of Samantha Carpenter Loomis, our final girl, as at least they want to make us believe anyway. So, with that being said, we have not seen Hank Loomis since Scream 3 in the video package that Roman provided for Cindy, showcasing the affair between him and Maureen. Other than that, we only seen him in a handful of scenes in Scream 1996. So with that being said, I do think that this is a character that has a high possibility of returning. I would like to think that maybe Hank Loomis is anywhere between 62 to 66 years old. So unless of course he had some real bad health issue, etc., or some freak accident, I would like to believe Hank Loomis is still alive in this day and age, in this timeline, considering the fact that Samantha is only 23 years old, Billy was 18 when he had her, so that means Billy would be 41. I would like to think maybe Hank Loomis had Billy anywhere between the ages of 21 and 25 years old, but that's just my guess. With that being said, I do think that Hank is still alive and well. If you take a look at ScreamFandom.com, which I believe is a pretty accurate source, which is like the Wikipedia for Scream characters, Scream storyline, etc., whatever it may have you, they do state that Hank Loomis is still alive. I do think that this is a character you should and could bring back in Scream 6. Samantha is his granddaughter. It would be very fascinating to see if maybe he already knew that. He was a shady lawyer. If you look at the Scream history of his character, they say he was a shady lawyer. So who's to say when Billy had this kid and Christina came out about it, maybe went to see Hank and told him about it after Billy's death. If she had the kid if she had Samantha after Billy's death, maybe Hank, obviously didn't want, people to know about it, didn't want people, to know that Billy had fathered a kid. Maybe he decided to help Christina Carpenter cover up the fact that Sam was Billy's for all those years. So I do think it would be fascinating and interesting to bring this character back and to catch up and see where has he been all these years, what he's been up to, And did he know that he had a grandchild, that Billy fathered a child? And did he have any role in potentially covering up the big secret that was Billy Loomis is the father of Samantha Carpenter Loomis? But again, Hank Loomis is my juggernaut to return in Scream 6, and I would definitely be on board with it, especially if story arc wise for Sam. I think it makes all the sense in the world to bring this character back, and I am hoping and expecting that Hank Loomis will be back in Scream 6. Alright guys, so my last character that we could potentially see in Scream 6, and as I stated in the beginning of the video, I wanted to talk about that working title. Well, that working title, as I stated earlier, is labeled Blackmore. Now, for those of you who are like, oh, why are you worried about the working title? Most working titles for movies, especially for these horror movies nowadays, actually have some significance within the movie itself. You've seen it with Halloween Kills in terms of labeling the movie mob rules. You've seen, obviously a mob like mentality going after Michael Myers, etc., etc. So, the working title for Scream 6 is Blackmore. And a lot of fans out there believe that this could potentially be the last name of Tara's father. We obviously don't have 100%, clarification on that, etc. But I personally do believe this will be the last name to Tara's father, and I do think that Tara's father will be a very pivotal character to keep a lookout for in Scream 6. Obviously, the reason being because he found out he wasn't the father of Samantha. He ended up leaving the family. So his return is almost all but imminent. Like, especially after hearing Tara got attacked, hearing about all the attacks in Woodsboro between Sam and Tara and their friends, etc. It's almost certain within the Scream community that Tara's father is going to make his return. And I do think that he is going to be a very important character. Now, a lot of fans think that Tara's father could potentially come back and cast as one of the Ghostface killers, much like they feel like the same about Leslie Mocker. Much like I feel about Leslie Mocker, I feel the opposite. I do not feel that if Tara's father, whoever he may be, but let's just go with the premise that it is Blackmore, if Blackmore, is Tara's father, I personally don't think that he will be a Ghostface killer. I think he will be portrayed much like Leslie Mocker as a big red herring. I think it would just be too obvious. The motive is just too much there, being that obviously he's mad, that Christina lied to him all those years, Sam's not his daughter, then the way he found out. Just the motive is just too clear and too obvious for him to be the Ghostface, cast as the Ghostface killer. So I do think that he falls into the category of a Leslie Mocker, to where he will have an important role, but as a big red herring, not as a Ghostface killer. But obviously, Tara's father, we all been wondering, are we going to see him in Scream 6? I do believe in Scream 6 will be the coming out party for Tara's father. I do believe that Blackmore is his last name, which is why they're using it as a working title, because he's going to have a significant role in this movie, obviously. And it is going to be very interesting to see where this character takes us, especially from a story arc standpoint. And it's going to be nice to see if they implement some flashback scenes. It would be nice to see if we get a flashback scene to where Sam found the boxes and the notes and the notebooks or whatever from her mom saying that Billy was her dad. Just seeing that scene where Blackmore, or just Tara's dad, whoever he is, finds out that, Sam is not his child and is Billy Loomis' child. Getting a rehashing of that scene would be very, very pivotal and very, very cool to see, in my opinion, in terms of story. Alright guys, that's it for the Scream 6 update / possible characters who could arrive in Scream 6 video. If you like this type of content, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, as well as hit that notification icon so you get all the latest content updates to the channel. Once again, this is I Shot Him 6 Times YouTube horror movie channel. I'm your host, Marcus. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook as well, and thank you for watching.